Gronkowski.
Josh, we're ready? I'd like to call this meeting to order and request all cell phones and electronic devices be turned off or put on silent for the duration of the meeting. And we thank everyone in the audience for your cooperation at this request. At this time, I invite everybody to stand for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. Just a couple standard announcements. Board meetings are broadcast live over Comcast 28 and Verizon Fios Channel 32 and our live stream on our district website, as well as recorded for future broadcasting.
Sure.
At this time, I'd like to give the floor to our superintendent, Dr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone. It's my privilege and pleasure to welcome a whole bunch of Valley Dragons. Come on up. Or do you need to start back there? All right. Thank you, Mr. Pratt, and welcome.
An after-school club for 6th grade girls and high school mentors. This is Club Ophelia's 5th year at Valley, and this year we have over 50 members.
Hi, my name is Avery. In Club Ophelia, we learned about making behavior choices that help rather than hurt relationships. We learned to recognize that not every girl has to be our friend, but every girl has to be respected. We listen and learn from others, and we learn to stand up for what we believe in, make friends, and have fun.
Hi, my name is Anya. In Club Ophelia, we work in groups with our mentors. Some of the activities we do in Club Ophelia are friendship bingo, making paper doll friends, and inspiration cards. I really enjoy working in groups and getting to know other girls better.
Hi, my name is Amara. In Club Ophelia, we put on role plays, have group discussions, and play games. Each activity ends with creation of scrapbook page that we add to our friendship journal. This is my friendship journal, and so far my favorite activity is role playing.
Hi, my name is Erin, and I am one of this year's club mentors. On behalf of everyone in Club Ophelia, we would like to thank the Just for Kids organization. Their generous donation funds all of the materials needed to create our friendship journals. We end every club with our chant, so I would like to end by reading it for you tonight. I feel good about myself, and I feel good about the girls around me. At Club Ophelia, we are united.
I forgot to give a shout out to the sponsor, Miss Michelle Briggs. She does everything with the girls on Wednesdays, along with the mentors. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just keep on a roll, Dr. Lee.
All right, thanks, Mr. President. On February 17th, 18th, and 19th, the Ben Salem High School Drama Club presented Grease, a wonderful show that took the audience to Rydell High School. The audience experienced the friendships, romances, and adventures of a group of high school kids in the 1950s. Kudos to director Reagan Ruiz, music directors Lisa Albert and Susan Hinson, technical director Josh Albert, who's in the house. Good job. Choreographer Elena Hardison Stokes, the entire cast, crew, and musicians on 4 fantastic performances. I understand they were nothing short of remarkable.
We're super.
It was an excellent show.
To celebrate Black History Month, Schaefer students were hard at work competing in the school-wide door decorating contest, highlighting African American figures. Each homeroom was assigned a category that represented various disciplines such as athletes, musicians, actors, writers, inventors, activists, and politicians. Students researched information and relied on their artistic abilities to showcase the life and the achievements of these prominent individuals. Students and staff will vote to determine a 7th and 8th grade homeroom winner. If I could take a moment to go back, retreat on our agenda. Thank you for the reminder. We have a recognition, a rather remarkable one, a National Merit Scholarship finalist, Katie Ho. And Katie is not here with us tonight.
She's taking a math final. Taking a midterm right now. Yeah.
Of course she is. So congratulations, Katie. We'll invite you back. But thanks for the heads up. I bet she has a final at night, doesn't she?
Yep, right now.
All right.
That's why she's a National Merit Scholar.
This is right. Yeah. Snyder students in Mrs. Vivacqua's and Mrs. Corino's 8th grade ELA writing classes have been learning about African American trailblazers each day during the month. This daily warm-up is in preparation for Black History Month Spotlight Project, where students will choose one individual and highlight his or her story and accomplishment throughout U.S. history. The 4th graders at Belmont Hills have been learning about informational text through research. Students have been working in small groups to research natural disasters. Once finished, they created posters that display the information they gathered. Classmates then had the opportunity to enjoy other posters and learn about different natural disasters. The Cornwellians are busy celebrating Black History Month, Valentine's Day, and the 100th day of school. Students read and learned more about the significant contributions of African Americans throughout history. There are many examples on the bulletin boards where the students can stop by and learn from their peers. Students also enjoyed writing cards and doing activities celebrating family and friends for Valentine's Day. Another event was the kindergarten celebration of the 100th day of school. They had the opportunity to dress up as if they were 100 years old and participate in activities they have been working towards for many days as they counted up to 100 days in the classroom. 3rd grade students at Faust Elementary have been doing research for Black History Month to report out to the rest of their schoolmates. Working in groups, they researched a famous person, created a report on them, and with the help of their teachers, recorded themselves sharing their findings. Each day, the reports were shared with the entire school during morning announcements via their live stream. Special thanks to Mrs. Green, Mrs. Holland, and Mrs. Burke for helping the students upload their videos to make this classroom project a school-wide experience. In the science unit, Rush 4th grade students recently completed a Why Do Birds' Beaks Differ? Inquiry. During this investigation, students explored different stations to simulate various birds' beak adaptations and to identify which tool would work best for which food. Students then explained why some birds are better suited for survival in a certain habitat than others. In the second marking period, Struble fourth grade students studied the novel The Tiger Rising. The fourth grade team invited all fourth grade families to the opening weekend of the movie on January 22nd at AMC Neshaminy. 14 students and their families joined the teachers. The students and staff had a great time seeing the novel, The Tiger Rising, come to life in the movie. The students loved seeing the characters come to life on the screen and made many references back to the novel throughout the movie. The Valley Dragons were celebrating the Winter Games. Each homeroom picked a country to follow throughout the Olympic Games. Then in gym, students learned about the different events and participated in their own simulated events. The other related arts teachers added to the experience by teaching about China, the host country. In library, the students heard Chinese folklore stories, and in computer class, students learned about the Lunar New Year. Students learned various songs and dances from China in the music class. That's all the highlights I have for you this evening, Mr. President.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved. Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed,
Aye.
nay. Abstentions. Saying none, motion carries. Public comment, Scott and Dichter.
Hello. Hey, how y'all doing? Came here today to comment. I just wanted to ask about, I know you don't necessarily get answers here, but I want to ask about the DEI coordinator position again. At the last personnel meeting I went to, it really sounded to me like it wasn't going to happen. We had said it would happen after the human resources person was hired. Dr. Lee, you gave me a laundry list of improvements we had made along the 4 points report. And it really, I walked away with the impression that we were not going to see this position. We no longer thought it was necessary. Frankly, my mind immediately flashed back to the November meeting where the outgoing school board members made that same implication that it wasn't going to happen once they left office. And people here got very indignant. They talked about how they were committed, how we're following the process, how this thing was definitely going to happen. Matter of fact, Dr. Lee, you said this was too important. It had to succeed. Couldn't fail. So at that personnel meeting, I was very discouraged. I hope that what you said about, all these improvements and reassessing the situation and deciding we may not need that situation, I hope that doesn't come to fruition. I hope we see someone in this position. Just to make it pretty simple, as I said then, we're ranked number 2 in the state in diversity. Number 2, most diverse population. 4 points report said that diverse population, that very diverse population in general, was doing poorly, was struggling in this district. Okay? That group of people that we can celebrate as number 2 is struggling. And how are they struggling? We're in the bottom third high schools in the state. Okay? To me, this feels like an opportunity to address this issue. This is the right position at the right time to improve the standing of our school district, to improve the reputation of our school district. It's the smart thing to do. I work in an electronics manufacturing company, and when you have a product that's struggling, they say, Scott, go fix it. Go work on it. Go try to improve that product so we get better yield, so we get better return on it. It's better. Our kids are our products. Education. We got to work on this. And nobody says you're going to make the other products feel bad if you work on it. You do the right thing for the kids. Thank you.
At this time, there are no other public comments. We'll move into the consent agenda. So I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the following consent agenda items. Secretary minutes, items H 1 through 5. Treasurer reports, items I 1. Instructional fair items M 1 through 4. Business affairs items N 1 through 4. 6 through 8. 12 through 15 and 17.
Mr. President, I just want to highlight
12 through 13, yeah, so 12 and 13.
just Mr. President, for number N13, that's just subject to final approval by the solicitor on the form of that agreement.
Thank you, Peter. Then personal items O 1 through 5 and 7.
So moved.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Abstentions. Motion carries. Instructional affairs.
Our reports, everything is on there. There's nothing to add.
Thank you, Heather. Personnel committee.
Everything is attached.
It's an item K, right? Nope. Personnel committee, Mark.
It's attached.
Thank you. Business affairs.
The report is attached to the agenda.
Committee of the whole. The meetings are attached. Again, the minutes are attached to the regular action meeting from January 25th as well. Solicitor's report.
There's no solicitor's report tonight.
Student, school board member reports. Dr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, welcome. Thank you for being with us. I had mentioned earlier that we're glad you're here. It's been a while for numerous reasons, and we know you have a lot to share. So please say hello and tell us what's new.
Thank you for having us. My name is Sydney Chekai, and this is Phoebe Ting. Tonight we're here to discuss some of the events taking place at Bensalem High School, as well as future plans. As you may know, February is Black History Month. Students celebrated by decorating billboards, dressing up for theme days, and hosting a bake sale that raised over $500, which was donated to an orphanage. In addition, the Bensalem Drama Club had their production of Grease this past weekend. Plus, the boys team just won the SOL Patriot Division, which was a huge accomplishment. The first district playoff game is tonight against Westchester Henderson, and one of our own players, Aaron Sanders, recently scored his thousandth point on February 3rd.
Our future plans include Blue Gray on March 4th, Junior Prom on March 18th, March Madness on the 25th, and a cheerleading competition on the 27th. Blue Gray is a school-wide event where students are split up alphabetically by last name, where they compete in games, dances, and artistic activities. This year, the theme is East vs. West. Each team creates dances and a mural, which are then presented that night. The Junior Prom will be taking place at New Falls Manor at 7 p.m., with the theme being the Golden Age of Hollywood. The following week, Blue Crew will be organizing our very own March Madness pep rally, where staff and students compete in a basketball game similar to Blue Gray. Finally, for the first time in years, our cheerleading team will be competing in a level 2 competition. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you.
Great to have you guys.
So, Susan, as always, I did go out of order. You were right. I appreciate that, guys. Liaison Committee reports. Bucks County Technical High School Joint Board Committee.
The technical high school has met twice since my last report. Our biggest part of the agenda last time, again, was the Articles of Agreement, which you may see again tonight. Thank you. And it's been it's been quite a conversation. We had a lot of agreement between most, all but one of the districts, and that was tough to work out. Fortunately, our business managers stepped in, had their own meeting, pounded it out on a table, and came to a conclusion that everybody could agree to. So thank you for going to that. Other business simply was our health and safety plan again, and that's about all. There are some grants we studied, and that's it.
Well, thank you, Heather. Bucks County IU.
Can we separate those on this agenda? The IU meeting was quite long. I have not ever been to a meeting that had that long of an agenda, and I've been around for like a while. I'm old. So honestly, it was like 6 pages of an agenda. The consent agenda, I was hoping for a larger consent agenda so we could just kind of zip through it. Important stuff. A lot about the busing, a lot about hiring. They have hired some people. They're really struggling to get enough, just like everybody is, enough bus drivers, enough aides, enough everything. So we went through that. We had special reports from one of their special education classrooms that's here in Langhorne. And that was about it on the important stuff. It was a great, great meeting. I have to say, Dr. Hoffman really runs a good meeting and gets through it. And I didn't think he'd ever get through those 6 pages. So he did. So we got home like by 10 or 11 that night. So that was good. So that's it. Mr. Price?
Don't get too comfortable. The Legislative Committee. It is.
Oh, gee. We haven't met.
Outstanding. Bensalem High School Hall of Fame Committee.
There's no formal report. We're just going to get ready for next month. We have a meeting to start the next class.
Awesome. Charter School. That's you, JP.
I wasn't at the meeting, but I don't think we met, right?
It is, Sam.
Thank you. The Charter School Committee met in the first week of February. We discussed some pending charter school legislation, the governor's budget, legislation and budget specifically related to charter school funding, and our upcoming review of our schooling, charter schools operations in anticipation of charter renewal. Did I cover it, Madam Chair? Mr. Chair. Sorry.
I just want to, in case anybody's wondering, 2 of our members are new, and as per the state, every time you are elected to the board now, you have coursework you need to do. So they were doing that. So it's Just want to make sure everybody knew that there was a reason why you weren't there.
Thank you. And just to clarify, that course was 6 hours long.
After the regular workday by me too. So, co-curricular advisory council, Mr. Rivera.
I just want to announce a couple things. They're having their annual golf outing will be held at the Country Club on June 11th. It's a Saturday. The boys basketball team is playing now, and we're up by 1. It's 24-23 at halftime. 11. We're up 11. Okay, thank you. Yep. The bowling team qualified for regionals for the first time in Bensalm's history. So I just wanted to shout out about that. And there are some districts going on this weekend with some of the sports, and there are some states. The track team will be at Penn State this weekend. And the play, I wanted to give a shout out in regards to the play. The play was phenomenal. The kids were phenomenal. I really believe that we don't realize the talent that we have here in Bensalem in our students, whether it be art, drama, music, the clubs, sports. We have a lot of talented kids here in Bensalem, and they really need to be recognized for it. Not only the kids, but the people behind them, the parents, the teachers, the administrators, getting them to that point. But the play was just phenomenal. They did a great job, and it was well attended. So that's all I have.
Kim, I just want to add to that when you said district. So, you know, a sport that near and dear to me. Wrestling does start their districts this weekend. And just on a middle school level, the middle school is sending 6 girls to states to wrestle, girls states.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
No, because, you know, just to add to that, right now Pennsylvania is in the midst of PIAA certification and getting recognized by the state for an actual sport, not just like club level, but recognized as the state. Bensalem.
I guess there wasn't a wrestling coach there because it's well, it just says Quakertown for the districts. They'll be going to, but
And we have some competitors that will do well and more than likely advance to the next level there. But yeah, I'm on top of that. Just so everybody knows, Bensalem has a lot of awesome girls wrestling individually, and for the most part, they were competing against boys up until the last few years, and they were still competing well against boys. Now that it's going to girls, the girls are actually well exceeding what they would have done against the boys. So it's something we should really get behind as a state. Community outreach and public relations.
Yeah, so we haven't met formally, but we did have some correspondence in regards to, because it's Mr. Patel and myself, and sitting down with Dr. Lee and Ms. Five, we had a great conversation about kind of retooling or where we want to take this thing, and understanding what our mission is with the program. And we need to do that, put something on the calendar to have that discussion. I know you were out of town and there were some trips we were planning around. So maybe before we leave tonight, we can get something on the calendar so we can get this thing off the ground. So.
Wellness committee.
I got to get used to this. Yes, I was something new for me. I learned a lot talking to the ladies over the phone, and it has to do with the way the food that they bring into the school. A lot of the kids that want to bring in different things, but they count the calories, they count the sugars, they count everything. I learned a lot about it. Still learning a lot about it, but I wish it was something that we would have had years ago when I was going to school, because we just ate whatever we want. But I still got a lot to learn in it. I'm not sure how much they spent a lot of time explaining to me what took place and what they did. So I don't think we got too far with anything else there.
Thanks, Jack. Ben Salem Education Foundation Committee, Mark.
We met today, and we will be sending the minutes later. We did speak about a few things. One of them was a $1,000 donation that I made in honor of my dad for the ROTC program. My dad was a World War II hero, and in honor of his death, some of my friends raised $800 on Facebook, and I contributed $800 of my own money, and his last Peasers check, because my dad was a teacher, so his last $400, so it totaled $2,000. So first we gave $1,000 to the ROTC program. Secondly, probably in April, we'll give the other $1,000 to the elementary ed, because my dad was a math supervisor. I want to thank Mr. Worthen and Colonel Church for letting me speak to the kids. It was a really special day. We also gave $800 to the Ben Salem High School Art Department for a new paper cutter, and we also donated $1,500 to OTN for new microphones. That's the report.
Just for kids?
I guess, did you make?
Just for the Kids has had several online meetings because our folks have not all been well. So we've met today. We had 10 online messages from that gentleman that my phone kept calling me. And we're just in the midst of deciding some future activities. All the ones that we have done, like the Massaroni Run, the Color Run, and some of the others are still on board. The bowling. What am I missing, Brian? All starting next fall. So we're just in the process of planning, and that's the story here.
Thank you, Heather. Ben Salem Township Council and School Board Liaison.
Nothing to report at this time. Thanks.
Ben Salem Township Drug and Alcohol.
There's no report.
Thank you. So we have two items under instructional affairs. Item M5, a settlement agreement between student D is reviewed by the board in executive session with under the confidential student matters. And then motion to approve 2 student withdrawal waiver and release agreements as reviewed with the board in executive session under confidential matters. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve both these items, M5 and M6.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Against signify by saying nay. Abstentions.
I'll abstain. I wasn't in that session.
Motion carries. So business affairs item N5, motion to approve a facility rental from the Ben Salem Police Activities League for the use of the Ben Salem High School Cafe multipurpose room on March 7th and waiver of fees.
So moved.
Second.
Does this waive the $75 application fee or no? Because it does.
Any other discussion? All favor signify by saying aye.
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 All against signify by saying nay. Abstentions. Seeing none, motion carries. And 9 is the next action item. Motion to approve the facility rental form for Mid-Atlantic Robox for the use of Bensalem High School from March 31st, 2022 to April 3rd, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
It's a great event.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All against signify by saying nay. I'm a nay. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Susan, is that duplicate? Sure looks like it.
No.
Oh, this is the addendum, right?
Yeah.
So N10 is an addendum to the original First Robotics rental to extend usage of the permit is what it is. So it's a motion to approve the facility rental form from the Bensalem High School Robotics Team 5401 for the use of Bensalem High School from April 2nd to 2022 to April 3rd, 2022. The addendum is attached and the rental form is attached. Correct. I'm entertaining that motion to
So
accept the
moved.
addendum.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All against signify by saying nay. Still a nay. Abstentions. Motion carries. And 11 is a motion to approve the request for Mid-Atlantic for a partial waiver of rental fees.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All against signify by saying nay. Of course, I'm still a nay. Abstentions. Motion carries. And 14 is a motion to award MYCO Mechanical of Telford, PA, the HVAC contract for Bensalem High School Gymnasium HVAC upgrade project for the amount not to exceed $3,168,000 in accordance with all bid specifications. So, hold on. Can't have discussion yet because there's still, for this being on the agenda in the form that it's in, we'd have to entertain the motion to approve it, get a second, and then either vote to approve it or not approve it, since it's already on the agenda. Am I right, Susan?
It can fail for lack of motion.
Yeah, my recommendation, given it was a bid, my recommendation would be to have a vote on it. And if it votes to fail, then fine, then you're simply rejecting the bid. We only got one bid, so you're rejecting that bid. And then if the administration wants to go forward with this, they'll have to redo the specifications and bid it again.
So back with accepting a motion. Can we entertain a motion to reject the award and amend this motion, Susan? With that.
Well, I have questions on.
So, oh no, so just, sorry not to interrupt, just the way it works, we know this, just there's a motion and a second, then once that happens, then you can debate, and just because you make the motion or second, it doesn't mean you have to vote for it in the end. The idea is just, it's out there, it's pending.
So moved.
In that case,
So
I'll
wait,
second.
are you
Wait,
moving the motion to reject, which was now,
We're going to move the motion as stated.
So it's a motion to award, and it's been seconded?
Kim made it. Heather seconded it. Now we're discussion.
So my question is, what's the backup plan if we don't do this? What are we going to do about that gym leaking all over that floor? We have millions of dollars in that gym, and what are we going to do about it? You know where we're going. You know where we're heading down the path. Are we ready to spend some money to fix that gym if this doesn't go through? I get it that there's only one bid. I certainly understand that. We got a list. Contract denied on it, and I would like what's the board's suggestions that we do to protect that gym till it gets fixed, or are we ready to spend some big time bucks to get it fixed?
I guess I would ask the question, what are we doing now when it happens?
Exactly.
And I'd probably guess we would continue to do the same thing we're doing right now.
What are we doing now?
Heather, did you have a question?
That's a viable concern about the damage that could, as a collateral, for not moving on this now. But I don't think it's unfair to continue to expect that, outside of just providing that one contractor was too busy or didn't have the capacity or bandwidth to take on the project, and that's why they chose not to bid. I don't think it's unfair to expect that, an RFQ or whatever it was that went out, and then how many contractors couldn't do it. Or I don't want to put us in a position where this is the only contractor we've got to bid from, and therefore we move in that direction without at least having something in the backup in form of we gave the opportunity to multiple contractors. Now I'm not asking for a dissertation on why everybody rejected the bid, but at least a list of an RFQ of who we put out to bid to. And that way, from a liability perspective, if somebody to come back in the future and say, well, how many people did you put the bid out to? We've at least checked that box, right? So if there's an RFQ list of contractors that it went out to, I don't think it's unfair to expect to receive that information. And we did get the email about the ASHRAE standard, and that was appreciative, stating that the system can't work without. We can't run on two systems versus having all four as a necessity to meet the ASHRAE standard for air quality. And that was good intel, but it's pretty vague. If we can get the actual ASHRAE, what piece of the policy you're quoting from the ASHRAE, it's a pretty long tedious, boring document that I don't know anybody wants to read through. So if you could just point to the piece of the ASHRAE standard that speaks to that, that'd be great. But in the interim, I don't think it's unfair to expect at least a list of contractors that the RFQ went out to.
We got that, and I thought I forwarded it out to everybody of what their responses were as to why maybe yours kicked back. So I had to check that. That some of them was the time frame, how tight it was that they felt that they couldn't get supplies. So this one felt that they would be the only one out of everyone to get them. So, Mr. Russell did respond. So.
And I know that was one of the concerns with getting equipment. And when we got the information, I know I saw it, I can't find it right now, that there was, they were concerned about getting us the stuff to have it done in time. Why was there only one company that thinks that they can get this stuff, and are they really going to be able to get it done in time? Right. And if not, do we get money taken off for every day they're late? If that's the case, then okay. But the fact that people didn't have enough time, by people, it was, I remember seeing one, they didn't have enough time to turn around their bid, to gather all the information and turn it in. That, and with only having one bid, because how many times, Mr. Steffi, have you said, well, we only have one bid, so we have to rebid? And when it comes to $3.1 million and we only have one bid, I can say you've caused this trauma on me. But I'm not very comfortable with it. And I'm just joking around when I say you've caused this, but.
COVID has created an unusual situation when the specs were being drawn up and drafted. The lead time on this equipment was 18 weeks. And in the intervening time between the bid specifications being completed and hitting the street, that went from 18 weeks to 28 weeks. So that's why we actually were planning to open those bids and make the recommendation in February, and we moved that timeline up. We still give the bidders 4 weeks to put together a response to the bid. So I know that there's a lot of work on the street, and that right now it's a contractor's market, and they can pick and choose which jobs they want to go to. But the project did come in within the budgetary estimates. I agree with you. One bid is definitely concerning for both of the primes. So if it's the board's request that we delay this and rebid at a later date, we can certainly do so. Problem's going to be it's going to cause some issues in regard to the work timeline, because a lot of that work was going to be done over the summertime. It will, if you're going to bid it later and have work during the school year, it could cause some issues and maybe some second shift work. I don't know all the particulars, but it could add costs in that respect, or you may have to wait until next summer.
I did find the spreadsheet. The one did not bid due to the quick turnaround, 1 week to get bid in. If you can, I'm not asking for it right now, but if you can kind of, why?
No, by law, we're required to put the bid specs out for a minimum of 3 weeks. So those were on the street for a month. Now, we did have a pre-bid meeting, 10 days. All the contractors were there. They had their bid specs. They had time to review them, and then met with the district, the design professional, and that meeting was for them to ask any questions, to see the site, ask for clarification on the bid specs. So that when they say they only had 1 week to put together a bid spec, I don't agree with that.
Oh, so it was probably 1 week from that meeting to when it had to be in.
I believe it was like 9 or 10 days, yeah.
I think Kim had a valid point, though, that we're missing. What are we going to do about the damage until we get this rolling?
Do we know how much current damage is going on? I'm sorry.
I was going to ask that. What's the damage?
Do we have any damage right now that's reportable?
No, we don't. But what occurs? You have water sitting. It gets cleaned up when we know about it. The concern I have is something occurs, we get water in there when there's nobody on site and it sits for a day or two, then you definitely could have damage sitting on those hardwood floors for an
And-
extended period of time.
Then back to Kim and Heather's concerns. What are we going to do to mitigate that in the meantime? What are our current mitigation techniques that we're using? What are we doing right now to prevent damage?
We basically clean it up as soon as we get water on it.
It continues to leak. We tarp it. We provide a reservoir for water accumulation.
Never even gets to the floor that way. If you
That's the hope, yeah.
Is it flood in the same place? I mean, do we know if there's the same flood? Is it?
I wouldn't call it a flood.
I apologize. There's the leaking that's happening. Is it happening in the same place all the time? Maybe better to handle it, what your suggestion was.
Yeah, it has its favorite spots. It's not one, it's not two, it's probably 3 or 4 throughout the complex. Yeah, and there's also intrusion when it rains hard and sideways at different spots. So, like, water finds its way in when it can, and there's too much of it. And we certainly have endured that for quite a while.
At one point, when I had water coming in to various classrooms in Struble, the HVAC folks explained to me that when it does come in, sometimes it finds a beam and travels along that, and you can't find the hole where it's coming in. They know. Yeah, exactly. So it's very difficult to locate that sometimes, unless you find it up on the roof, which and they go up and look.
So not to change the subject, but it appears the Owls won.
Oh.
57-42.
Awesome. So with that and this motion that's on the floor, is there any more discussion?
I commend everybody for, doing the work and the bids, Mr. Steffi and, Brian. My concern is, one bid, and then I have this attitude of the economy, eventually there could be some corrections. A $3 million job in 3 to 6 months could be a lot lower. It could be. We don't know, but things are heading in a different direction right now.
So, Ms. Harder, just so there's no confusion on the results of this vote, can we do a roll call vote, please?
Thank you.
So just to throttle back real quick and recover. So this motion is to approve this. So any aye vote is to approve the awarding of this contract. Okay, just to clarify that.
The vote is to award the contract.
Correct. So the motion on the floor currently that has been made and seconded is to approve the awarding to NYCO. So any aye vote documented will go to the award of this to that. Ms. Harder.
That's a nay right now.
Mrs. Nicholas.
Nay.
Mr. Myers.
Nay.
Mrs. Snyder.
Nay.
Mr. Stewart.
Nay.
Mr. Cohen.
Nay.
Mr. Patel.
Nay.
Mrs. Rivera.
Nay.
And Mr. Price.
Also a nay.
All right, so just to be clear, that bid has been rejected. Thank you.
Susan, thank you for your patience. So N15 would be a motion to award MJF Electric of Morrisville, PA, the electrical contract for the Ben Salem High School Gymnasium HVAC upgrade project for an amount not to exceed $58,000 in accordance with all bid specification. Now here's another question. This is on the table, and this will be for you guys. since the first one was rejected and that project isn't going, does this go, do we still need to act on this?
I would, yes. I would make the record clear and
Okay, so I'll entertain that motion.
So moved.
Any discussion on this? One more time, Susan, just for clarity.
On.
Nay.
Mrs. Nicholas.
Nay.
Mr. Meyer.
Nay.
Mrs. Snyder.
Nay.
Mr. Stewart.
Nay.
Mr. Cohen.
Nay.
Mr. Patel.
Nay.
Mrs. Rivera.
Nay.
And Mr. Price.
Nay.
That motion also fails.
so that bid is also rejected.
So N16 is motion to approve the proposed changes to the Articles of Agreement for the Bucks County Technical High School.
So moved.
Second.
Questions?
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. I just want to, thank you. This is an ongoing, I think in the 14 years I've been on and off the tech board, it's always an issue. Some districts it works for, some districts it doesn't. We are lucky where we are always in the middle. And once again, I think we're a little bit to the good on this one, but we're still right in the middle. So thank you to our tech board members who get to sit there this year and listen to the banter back and forth on their opinions.
And the business managers that sat through the meeting making this happen. Any more discussion? And this is a required roll call vote.
That's my understanding, yes. So, Mr.
Correct.
Pettyjohn.
Aye.
Mrs. Nicholas.
Aye.
Mr. Meyer.
Aye.
Mrs. Snyder.
Aye.
Mr. Stewart.
Aye.
Mr. Cohen.
Aye.
Mr. Patel.
Aye.
Mrs. Rivera.
Aye.
And Mr. Cohen. Mr. Price.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Which takes us to Personnel 06. Which a motion to approve the co-curricular contracts.
So moved.
Second.
We can't discuss personnel matters. Correct. That's correct, right?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Personnel matters can't be discussed. So, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Nay no signify by saying nay. Abstentions. I have to abstain. I have a family member on this list. So motion carries.
Yes, 7 votes for and 2 abstentions, right?
Yeah, 7-4, 2 abstentions. Takes into Personnel 8, School Administrators Act 93 compensation plan. So this is a motion to approve the collective bargaining agreement between the Bensalem Township School District and the School Administrators Act 93 for the term July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2025.
I'm sorry, Mr. President. It's not a collective bargaining agreement. It's a compensation plan. So it's a meet and discuss group, but otherwise correct.
My apologies. So it's motion to approve the
Compensation plan.
compensation plan or compensation agreement between the Bensalem Township School District and the School Administrators Act 93 for the term July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2025.
So moved.
Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those against signify by saying nay. Abstentions.
I have to abstain. I have an immediate family member that's part of this agreement.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. President and board colleagues. I also want to take a minute to express our gratitude to the Act 93 leadership team with us tonight. Dr. Mark, great Cornwellian, and Mrs. Judy, of course, one of the great Struble stars. So thank you for your work and your leadership of the Act 93 group in collaboration with the district. Thank you. Among
you.
other things.
Thank you. And just on another note, so try about April, my dad was a math supervisor, so we have money for you from the foundation. So come up with a little plan and we're ready. Bill Lewis and I will be down for the check presentation. We got a check for you. Thank you.
So just some informational items. The school administrators did meet in executive session to discuss matters concerning student matters, labor negotiations, personnel matters, and attorney litigation matters. Some upcoming board meetings, February 28th, the exciting budget work session number 1. Let's not get too excited. March 1st, instructional affairs. March 8th, personnel. March 9th, business affairs. March 16th, committee of the whole. March 17th, public relations and outreach. March 21st, co-curricular and sports association meeting. March 22nd, regular action meeting. March 23rd, the BHS Hall of Fame committee. And March 28th, budget work session number 2. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye.